Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. I like to mess with these roosters every once in a while. And once in a while, they respond to an old turkey call. And as you can tell, I ain't played one in a long time, but I used to make them. Used to make them for boys so they could take them and go hunting. I enjoy doing it. Y'all, what I'm gonna do today, got a notepad with me. Been telling y'all that I'm gonna break it down for you and tell you what our expenses are, yearly expenses for producing really about 90% of our own food. We're shooting for 100, but we don't have a milk cow, and we don't have fields of wheat out here, and we like biscuits and tortillas and all that stuff that we make with them. Homemade bread, Lisa does all that for the most part. But I'm gonna take you around today. I've done some figuring. We keep detailed records of everything that we do, and I'll break it down for you. I'm gonna show you on average what we spend in a year to produce all of our own food. Guys, thanks for stopping in. Hit that old like for us, subscribe if you hadn't, and if you have, we appreciate you. Let's get on to it. Go down and check on the hogs first. Now guys, first we're going to talk about our cost to produce pork for the year. We normally process one hog for ourselves. We're a family of 3, and one hog will generally last us a year. We may actually process an additional this year, but the numbers I'm going to give you are based off of 2021 because that's what we have the most current records on. You know, we're still in 2022. All right, so in 2021, we maintained 3 hogs, and we grew out 1 hog to butcher weight and processed it here on the homestead. And for those 3 hogs, to feed them yearly and to grow 1 out, that's 6,275 pounds of feed, plus an average of 100 pounds more for 1 litter of piglets. And that is a 6 pig litter that we had last year. It ended up being 4. But round about 100 pounds of feed is what you can figure on this small litter. And hopefully these hogs will behave while I'm trying to do this, because Rosie's feeding babies. Dixie, we opened up the other side of the pasture out here in the woods to her this morning, but she's up here with me right now, so I brought some corn just in case she gets too rowdy. All right, so 6,275 pounds of feed. Now, the cost on that for us in 2021 going to be probably just a little bit higher this year. We buy in bulk, y'all. We don't go to the feed store or stores every week and get feed as we need it. We buy in bulk because it's cheaper that way, and we have the storage ability to be able to store, you know, 3 months of feed at one time. We generally do not go get feed, but about every quarter. All right, 30 cents a pound. That's what it cost us to feed out our hogs in 2021. And so far this year, it's about the same thing. Just a little bit more, y'all, but things have gone up. It depends on where you live at too, y'all. We're in central North Carolina, and so our feed cost is still about the same, but I expect things to start jumping on up. We've already seen that trend in some of the feed we've bought here recently. All right, so that was $1,882.50 worth of feed last year to maintain 3 hogs, to grow 1 out for ourselves for personal consumption. All right, we'll get on over to some of the chickens and we'll talk about the amount of feed that we go through in a year, as well as the cost of it. And when we get to the end of this video, y'all, I'll break it down. I'm gonna break it down the best that I can with my love of math, which is not much, y'all. And I think you'll be surprised at the end how good you can do coming out, raising your own food, growing your own food. Now I'll go ahead and tell you, we don't do it for the cost savings. Although it's just an added benefit. We do it because we know that our Our meat has been ethically raised, ethically handled, ethically slaughtered, and the cleanliness of the butcher shop is perfect. We ain't got to worry about no contaminants. We know our hands are clean. We know the coolers that we put them in are clean. We know that we keep them at the right temperature while we're doing it. We know that the food handling is done 100% by the book. All right, let's get on to something else. I'm rambling now. Oh, before I lost my train of thought there, before we move on. Y'all, we do this because we want to be as self-sufficient as possible. And y'all, we're getting there. This has been several years in the making. We're probably at about 90% on food that we produce ourselves. We still have a budget for the grocery store. And I'll tell you, that budget is $100 a month. That's just what Lisa and I decided on, and that's what we stick to. And if it's a splurge every now and then, yeah, we'll get us an old ribeye every once in a while and some flounder or some shrimp and cook it up, stuff we don't do here, but that's few and far between. And we don't splurge on junk. About the only junk we might buy or some corn tortilla chips if we want Mexican food one night. Something like that, y'all. We make all of our own tortillas for stuff like that. Lisa makes all the bread. I help her with tortilla making. I make the biscuits. But yeah, we do it all, y'all. We don't have a cow to milk. We have to buy stuff like that. You know, we don't raise peanuts. We don't have our own peanut butter. I like some of that every once in a while. I like to give a little treat to Rocky, the old boy cat in the house. He likes a little peanut butter. I don't know if that's real safe for him, but he only gets a little taste every once in a while when I get to hankering. Let's go on up to the chickens. I'm rambling. All right, y'all, in this coop right here behind me, that's the one that we raise our Rangers in, and we pull them around on grass every single day. Once they get big enough, start pulling around on grass. But y'all, for those Rangers, we generally raise 60 a year. It might be 61 or 2, but the average is 60 a year. A spring flock and a fall flock. Now this year, we're just turning over our golden friars instead of raising a fall crop or a fall flock of Rangers. But last year we did 2 sets of Rangers. And for those, it took us 1,200 pounds of feed. You'll have some people tell you, oh, you can raise a chicken on 12 pounds of feed. Depends on the chicken, y'all. These are thoroughbreds. These Rangers and Cornish Cross both, they will consume the feed. And they're gonna eat you, you're gonna feel like you're getting 8 out of house and home. But 1,200 pounds is what we allotted for those 60, 62 birds, something like that, I believe it was last year. Now, the cost on that feed for that 1,200 pounds was $504. That's tax and all. Plus, we throw grit to them, and we probably used about $15 worth of grit. You can go down in the creek down here and shovel out grit. Only problem is there's copperheads and water moccasins down there. And I really don't want to go down there and fool with them things. So we'll spend $15 on about, 30 pounds of grit that we'll throw to them throughout the growing season. All right, so meat birds, 60 of them. And y'all, with a family of 3, that's a lot of meat. That was 300 pounds of chicken. That's a lot of chicken, y'all. That's a lot of broth that we made, a lot of stock, a lot of bone broth. We don't let any of it go to waste. Even the entrails that we don't eat. I love fried chicken livers, but everything else, we compost it. It goes into our compost, the sun heats it up, cooks it down, and then by spring, we've got some really rich amendment that Lisa will use when she transplants her seedlings. So right there, you're looking at $515 to raise 300 pounds of Ranger chicken last year. Now I'm going to take you up here to all of our breeding group and our laying hens and show you the amount of feed, or tell you the amount of feed that it's taken us to maintain these 16 chickens that we currently have. Y'all, I know we've mentioned this before, but if if you can get to the point that you can justify a side-by-side of some kind, it don't have to be a John Deere Gator. It can be something else, you know, something that's in your budget. I'm gonna tell you what, they save you a whole lot of steps, y'all. And this thing's a workhorse. We use it every single day, multiple times a day, hauling feed, hauling water, hauling plants, hauling everything, y'all. Hauling me around, at least around. But I'll go in here and cut the electric fence back on before I get up to these laying hens. And I'll show you the electric fence real quick because some of you may wonder what we use. All right, y'all. We use a Parmac Mark 8. This thing's 6 joules. And I believe we bought this thing from QC Supply. I believe it's up in the Midwest. They had the best deal on it at the time. But y'all, it's got a fuse in there. We've only had it hit by lightning once. It'll break that fuse. You just put another one in there and keep on going. But I'll show you this digital display if it'll come through on the camera. When it starts up, I'm hitting it around 12 kilovolts. And now that's a hot fence. All right, I thought I'd bring you over here to our breeding group. And these are speckled Sussex hens and a Delaware rooster. And that's how we are breeding our golden friars. And we're gonna fry one up here in a couple of days. I know I've told you a couple of times, but we're gonna film that thing. My mother has already fried one up and she said it was the most tender chicken, flavorful chicken fried she has ever had. And it fries up in half the time of these Rangers. Because, you know, even though they're not probably as big in carcass weight as these Cornish Cross, they're still big, y'all, and it takes a while to fry them. All right, but back to the topic of the day, which is cost. All right, we currently have 16 hens that are dropping eggs and 3 roosters. I believe that's right. Yeah, 16 hens and 3 roosters. We keep the 3 roosters, the Delaware, for our breeding. We keep Speckles, our Sussex rooster over there, because he'll actually get moved in here with these girls probably about around fall. Once we're done breeding golden friars for the year, we'll put him in here and we'll go ahead and incubate a round of Sussex so we have another flock to turn over. We may have to do a couple of rounds in order to maintain that 10 laying hens that we want. And rooster, he's just a mascot around here, y'all. But no, we'll throw him in there, not throw him, gently sit him. We will put him in there with those other hens that are just crossed up hens. And we'll breed another flock off of him and those girls because they lay consistent large eggs. And we got an Easter egger in there, and that's kind of cool to get a green egg and a blue egg once in a while. Anyways, to the feed. To maintain these 16 hens and 3 roosters, it takes us 900 pounds of feed a year. That's a lot of feed, y'all. But we can feed all of them on a bag and a half. That's 50-pound bags a month, maybe a little bit less. Y'all, they don't eat the feed down like a meat bird. They maintain, and we give them a high protein, especially in the winter. We bump it up, keep them producing eggs. They'll produce eggs even through the winter, y'all, with the high protein feed. It'll help them as they go through any molts. All right, so 900 pounds. That's $306 a year. That's what it costs us to do that. All right, so let's break this down. I have also figured in an estimate on the cost for fuel, diesel fuel for the tractor, for the garden, gasoline for the gator, and electric for the well pump and any incubation that we do, as well as maintaining a decent environment for our feed so that it will not mold, mildew, get damp, anything like that. And that's $300 a year, y'all. And that's probably about right with that. Now, I'm gonna take you down to the garden and we're gonna talk about a little bit more as far as our food production. But y'all, the total cost, let me get this out of the way before. The total cost to produce our meat in 2021 was $3,003.50. That includes that power, fuel, and otherwise miscellaneous category there, $300. $3,003.50. Now, I'll take you down to the garden. We'll talk about all the vegetables that we raise. Not in as long and drawn out of detail, y'all, because I know it's hard to watch some of these videos, but when you talk about stuff like this, maybe some of you love it. I'm just trying to be transparent in what we do here, so that you'll have a better understanding if you're wanting to do it yourself, or maybe find some ways to make it more affordable for yourself. But let's get on down to the garden, and then we're gonna kind of wrap it all up, and you'll get a perfect understanding of our total input versus gain off of this deal, y'all. Y'all, it is hot as blazes out here today, and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. The humidity's about 80%. It's miserable, y'all. But I told Lisa, I said, I've said several times I'm gonna give a breakdown here of the cost to raise our own food. And I said, today's a good time to do it because I don't feel like going out there and having a heat stroke. So, down here at our garden down in the bottom, let's go out here and take a look, and I'll explain a few things. Y'all, our corn actually stood back up a little bit, and it's putting on some ears. We had a good, let's see, a little over a ½ inch of rain yesterday morning. It came down pretty hard, but the ground took it up, and we might get a little bit of corn out of here. I don't know, the one at the neighbors that had a beautiful stand, man, it was tasseling out at 2 foot tall, so I don't know. It may surprise us if we get enough moisture. Who knows? All right, vegetable production. Lisa gave me these figures because she keeps up with all that. She buys seedling mix, and I'm wanting to say it's Sungrow. She's had real good success with that, Sungrow. She starts all of our seedlings in the house, everything that we're not going to direct plant or direct seed. And her seedling mix, she used $47 worth in a year's time. That's quite a bit of seedling mix, but $47 worth. Her seed cost for the entire year was $60. And she told me, she said, make sure you tell folks $60 was her amount of seeds that she opened, packets. But she didn't use all those seeds. Some of them may get used this coming year because you don't always plant 50 of one thing. But $60 was her cost on that for the packets themselves. And y'all, we stock up. We try to stay a year, 2, 3 years ahead on seed because you don't know what's going to happen with that stuff, y'all. And it's better to just have some in the freezer ready to go. It holds good in the freezer. I've had seed that's been in the freezer 10 years and still pop up and produce a crop. Anyways, $47 seedling mix, $60 seed cost, and fertilizer cost. We use synthetic fertilizers. We also use organic fertilizers. It depends on the crop. It depends on what it's doing. It depends on the stage of it. We've got kind of a hybrid method going on. And y'all, that seems to have worked for us. We used to be solely synthetic, but we've been migrating over into some of the organics. Plus, we use our chicken litter, y'all. We use all of our chicken litter. Put it in the compost pile. It'll stay hot, y'all. It'll be hot the next spring. But you use it sparingly, excuse me, once it's decomposted down and you've got everything mixed together good. So fertilizer cost $80. That's for an entire year. And that's probably a little bit high, to be honest. All right, organic pest control, insecticides, pesticides. We don't use anything that isn't organic, Omni approved, safe for beneficial insects. And yet, I'll be honest with you, this year it hasn't worked as good as it has in the past, but our insect load pressure has been, I don't want to hit that fence behind me, has been extreme this year. And I think it's got something to do with the mild winter that we had. and the dry, almost drought conditions we've had. We've not had a lot of rain, y'all. Probably an inch of rain in 2 months. That ain't a lot of rain, not when you're trying to garden. All right, back to it, because I'm rambling. I ramble, y'all. Organic pest control, $48 for the entire year. We alternate between spinosad and pyrethrin. And we don't spray every single week, y'all. When we see a heavy pressure, if it's 2 weeks, we'll spray. Sometimes it is every week. It just depends on the pest load. But we do spray because you don't want your plants to get cannibalized or they won't produce fruit. And you're relying on that fruit to feed your family. Because if not, you just, what's a good term? I was going to say, you're just throwing your money away. You're just throwing your money away. All right, so $235 total in seedling mix, seed cost, and fertilizer cost. And y'all have already factored in electric, fuel, water from the well pump on the meat production. All right, trying to figure out. All right, we sell piglets here. That's why we have Samson the boar. We've IA'd in the past. IA'd, artificial, yeah. Artificial inseminated in the past, got pretty good at that. I like doing it. It's consistent, it seems to be. But I wanted to give that job to a real live boar just so that all we have to do is move him to a sow or a gilt whenever they're in heat. And I kind of want to do it that way, y'all. I like knowing that we've got a boar here, even though it costs to feed him every year, so that he can get the job done without us having to rely on another farm, postal service of some kind, stuff getting here to you on time, not getting lost in the mail, because you've only got a narrow window of time that you can get this thing done. All right, so piglets. Averaging 5 piglets sold off of 1 litter, because Rosie has had she got 7 this time. She had 6 first time, 7 this time. So we're kind of figuring on around 5 piglets off of 1 litter. I'm just figuring it for 1 year, 1 litter. We'll have 2 next year, but figuring it this way for now. Averaging 5 piglets sold. And y'all, we'll sell them by the pound. We're not selling them like they're golden doodles for a certain fee for a bitch or a dame, or dam, however you say that. We are selling them by the pound because that used to be the industry standard. And for people like me that are actually producing, it really still is an industry standard, whether a person uses a tape measure and guesstimates weight or uses a live scale. A solid producer is gonna try to do it this way, just because everybody gets a fair deal. But anyways, 5 piglets averaging 35 pounds a piece at weaning. And weaning for us is 7 to 8 weeks, depending on how well they're doing at 7 weeks. Let's say that's $700. That would be an average, $700. Subtract that from the feed cost for the year, the cost to grow your garden. Yeah, you've got other factors involved, like cannon lids. You have to buy those about every year, and we've got a decent supply of those. And we already invested in our infrastructure's done around here for the most part, y'all. We've got all our jars for canning, pressure canners. It takes some money to get going, but once you get going, you kind of just Cadillac with it. All right, so $700 on those piglets sold. I hope y'all can follow me, y'all. I'm dancing all over the place. That's just the way I am sometimes, y'all. All right, total cost to produce our food yearly, $2,538.50. Plus, we have a $100 grocery store budget. That's $3,738.50. You break that down by 12 monthly, that's $311.54 a month. That's what it's costing us a month, family of 3, for our groceries. $311.54. Now, there'll be some leeway in there. It could go up, could go down, but this is pretty solid based off the numbers, y'all. $311.54 a month, or remember there are 3 of us, $10.24 a day, 365 days. 3 of us eating 3 meals a day. $3.41 a person for 3 meals a day. Guys, this is just a byproduct of living this way. This is not what we intended when we started this thing. And y'all, like I said, we've been living this way our whole life. Always gardened, lived in a rural setting or a farm, raised your own meat. But this is how we live. This is how we like to live. This is our golf game. This is our bass fishing. This is, sometimes it's our vacation too. But y'all, we wanted to be able to grow our own food, didn't have a bunch of junk sprayed on it, that was clean, that was sanitary, that hopefully ain't going to cause us all kinds of health ailments down the years, and that we can be sustainable in. So long as our health is good, we can grow gardens and raise animals. And we enjoy doing it, y'all. But I hope that this video has been beneficial. Even though I've jumped all over the place, and my throat's getting dry. Even though I've jumped all over the place, we are no experts, y'all, by any means. We've just lived this way most of our life. And if you can glean something from it and learn, great. That's what we're here to do. We're here to hopefully encourage you, be a blessing to you, show you how we do it, and show you that yes, you can do it too. So guys, if you have any questions, drop them below. I'll try to answer them for you best that I can. Thanks for stopping in. Y'all have a great day, a great week, and next time we out here, we'll do something fun like running a saw or running a sawmill or hopping on the tractor. But for today, I tried to get down into the nitty-gritty and break it down for you a little bit. Y'all have a good day and a great week. We'll see you.